This recording will describe the questions and demonstrate the functionality associated with screen 14.0 evidence of formal written procedures in the sterilization process validation QBR. This screen is intended to capture information related to the SOPs that demonstrate evidence of formal written procedures. This screen is referred to as a tabular screen, which means that the questions can be entered multiple times. Before we get into the details of the screen, let's go over the buttons found on this screen. The green plus button is used to add entries and the red minus sign to delete entries. The multiple red minus signs will delete all entries in the table. The list button will take you back to this screen, which lists all of the entries. The detail button will take you to the individual questions. The info button allows you to view the instructions for this screen. And the two arrow buttons will allow you to navigate between each of the entries within a table, both in the list view and the detail view. The information on this screen may be provided in several different ways. If you only have a few items to add, you may do this by pushing the green plus sign. This will open the question screen. On this screen, you identify the title of the SOP. This should be an identifier such as a line number or a room number. For example, SOP1. Next, you identify the current version number or date of the current version. For example, 1.0. The topic area or areas for the SOP can be selected by pressing the green plus button and then either selected individually or you may control click to select multiple entries and then finally choose select. The next question asks if changes have been made to the SOP during the reporting period. Since this is a new type 5, the NA original VMF submission option should be selected. The other options are available for the next phase of development and are for use with post-approval changes or annual updates to the master file. The final question provides an option to attach the SOP here if needed. Note that all SOPs listed in screen 14.0 do not need to be provided to the file, only critical SOPs. Generally, we have identified the required SOPs in the hints throughout the Type 5 template, although this is not comprehensive. The file may be attached here by pressing the green plus button and navigating to the location of the file, selecting it and pushing the select button. Because you are likely to have multiple SOPs and/or because you anticipate you will use this information across multiple applications or files, you may wish to consider the import spreadsheet option. If you select the info button at the top of the screen, you will be taken back to the introduction screen you see when you first move here. This allows you to use an Excel spreadsheet to copy and paste all or some information into eSubmitter. First, we will discuss the import options. Regardless of which import option you decide to use, you start the process by clicking on the button in the upper right-hand corner with a box and green down arrow. This will open the data import wizard. You will see two options for importing: import data selected using copy/paste from Microsoft Excel, and import all data from a Microsoft Excel file. Import data selected using copy/paste from Microsoft Excel can be used to only import selected information from the Excel sheet. This option will be most useful if you have assembled a master sheet that will be used across multiple applications. Import all data from a Microsoft Excel file is the better option if all of the rows from a particular Excel sheet will be copied into Excel. We will return to the import options in just a minute, but first let's talk about the Excel sheet. You may create your own Excel template or you may use the pre-prepared spreadsheet provided by CVM. At the top of this screen, you will see a link to CVM's Excel sheet with all of the relevant columns. The first thing you will notice is that all of the questions found in section 14 are available in the spreadsheet. You can fill this out just as you would fill out the questions. For example, we used SOP 1 for our SOP title and version 1.0. For topic areas, the column header indicates the two-letter abbreviations to identify each topic. If there are multiple topics associated with a particular SOP, you can separate each abbreviation by a semicolon. For example, VAF semicolon SIP. For change status, again, you should use the appropriate two-letter abbreviation associated with that status. In this case, NA. As far as the reference to the SOP file, to add the SOP, first you want to navigate to the folder that contains that SOP. So in this example, you'll find my SOP is named SOP. I will select copy path, and I will right click and paste the path in. Okay. So I am now going to show you another spreadsheet that has been filled out with additional information. So you will note that this spreadsheet has an additional column that was not present in the original template. This is the column we have added to track the application numbers associated with each filling line. This column is important when using the copy paste option because Excel does not recognize the use of Control-Click to only highlight and copy certain cells. Instead, it will copy and paste all cells in between the first and last rows you have selected. So instead, we recommend adding an additional column to the end of the sheet to capture information such as application or file numbers to allow filtering of only the information you are interested in. Any extra columns beyond what is requested by eSubmitter will be truncated upon import. We will demonstrate all of this in a few minutes when we walk through the process. Once you have assembled all of the information, the next step is to import the data. We will first demonstrate the copy paste functionality. To do this, again, click on the box with the green down arrow and select import data selected using copy paste from Microsoft Excel. You will be taken to the copy paste import wizard again. You can then go to the Excel sheet you have prepared and select, say, the first three rows. Copy those. And then you can hit paste from clipboard. It noted 3 rows. And if you use the blue arrow, you can see now that SOP1, SOP2, and SOP3 were pasted from clipboard. Okay. So as I mentioned before, Excel does not recognize the use of Control-Click to only copy certain rows. So if you again have your Excel sheet and you were to Control-Click SOP1 and SOP5 and copy those, you can paste from clipboard again and hit replace. You'll note that 5 rows were found and that all 5 SOPs were pasted. So even though I only selected rows 1 through 5, rows 2, 3, and 4 were still copied. Now, to avoid this, we make use of the extra column that I noted previously. So if you go to that column, you can select based on these application numbers. So say, for example, we only want to consider applications, or we only want to consider SOPs that are relevant to application number 123456. So I could deselect, select that application, and now SOP 2, 3, and 5 are the only ones that show up. I can copy those 3, paste from clipboard, click replace. And as you see, I now have SOP 2, SOP 3, and SOP 5 without SOPs 1 or 4. Note that when I was showing you the different copy paste options, that I was given an opportunity to either replace or add to the existing information already in eSubmitter. If we were adding a I'm sorry, if we were adding brand new data, we can select either option. In the future, you may need to come back to this data again and either add or replace or replace the existing data. You can do this by selecting the appropriate option. In this case, we will just select replace existing data for our data integration approach. And then click next and start the import process. Our 3 rows were imported. And when we click done, we can see that SOP2, SOP3, and SOP5 were all imported. The second import function is import all data from an Excel file. So once again, we will select the box with the green down arrow. This time we will select import all data from a Microsoft Excel file. Okay. In the file import wizard, you will see that it has pre-filled the source type as only Microsoft Excel is currently supported. The next line includes the display definition instructions. So click that. This provides you with all of the instructions to construct your own Excel file if you don't want to use the provided Excel sheet. Next, it will ask you to select the source file. Note that only .xls Excel files may be used currently. So you can browse through your folder structure to find your file. 1 second. Here we have 14.0. I'll select that. Okay. Next, you need to set the import configuration options. If the first row of the sheet is a header, click the box so that it is not imported. So I'm going to click that. Next, you start the data integration approach of either adding to existing data or replacing existing data. In this case, we will just add to existing data. Next. Correct. So start the process, click start data import, and done. So you will note that the box below now indicates that the data has been imported successfully. If there were any errors in the import, it will note them here. And after you click done, it will take you back to the screen and you will see that all of your rows have now been imported into the template.